Ever since I was little, all I wanted to do was lay flat. If the sky was falling, as long as it didn't crush my bed, I'd keep sleeping. After being identified as the lost heiress and brought back to a wealthy family, the fake heiress fought tooth and nail to marry the newly risen prince of the sterling business empire. She dumped her original fiancé, the disabled young master, onto me. My biological parents forced me to agree. I rolled over in bed. Sure, disabled is great, no need to have kids, and he'll probably die early. After marriage, I fed him to finish the job quickly, so I could sleep. I helped him with rehab, so he could use the toilet by himself. I even took a knife for him, only because I was too sleepy in the middle of the night to dodge. Later, the down-and-out disabled young master regained his inheritance rights and became the fearsome living Hades of the business world. The fake heiress brought my parents to force me into a divorce, demanding I return her husband. I nodded, sure. The man in the wheelchair stood up with a whoosh. Not sure, you idiot. Absolutely not. I've wanted to lay flat since I was a kid. When I was in the orphanage on open days, I would kick the dog out and sleep in the doghouse. After the event, the director mom couldn't find me and thought a trafficker had sneaked in, spinning in anxious circles. Big Yellow the dog was also spinning anxiously at her feet. Drooping his big ears, he held a woo-woo-woo. Director mom had no time for him. She didn't even realize he was tattling. Big Yellow howled even more sadly. When a dog howls, kids who like to imitate start howling too. Competitive kids heard it, refused to lose, and started screaming high notes nearby. Show-off kids saw it, thought it was fun, and joined in the high-note screaming. From one dog and one kid, it multiplied like bacteria to one dog and a horde of kids. The rising and falling wails signaled the severity of the situation, alarming the nearby residents. So that day, fire trucks came wee-woo. Ambulances came wee-woo-wee-woo. Police cars also came wee-woo-wee-woo. A kind neighbor drove a water sprinkler truck over. Playing It's a Small World as it arrived, I really couldn't sleep through the noise. I crawled out of the doghouse. Director mom was still anxiously describing my appearance to the police and reporters. I randomly picked a kid who was howling with a dog and interrupted his casting. Hey, little black egg, whatcha doing? Oh, don't disturb me, I'm busy. I let go of his collar and nodded wish today. Okay, sure. Big Yellow saw me come out halfway through his howl, whimpered, and ran back to his kennel. Once the dog stopped, the kid stopped too. Director mom finally noticed me. You little idiot, where did you run off to? At the end of that day, director mom took me to stand at the orphanage gate, apologizing nonstop. People comforted her, saying a false alarm is the best news, and their trip was worth it. But the reporters didn't want to come for nothing. The next day, reports about the orphanage were flying everywhere.
The Summers family found me at that time.
Director mom held the paternity test, touching my head with relief. Girl, you're going to the big city. You have to speak proper English in the future. Can't speak this dialect anymore, understand? I played with the carrot pen she gave me, nodding half understandingly. Understood. And you can't keep crying for spicy soup every day. That's not what a rich young lady should drink, understand? I nodded reluctantly. Understood. When you get home, get along with your sister. Yield to her in everything. After all, you are real. She is fake. Don't fight with her. Understand? If I give everything to her, will she bother my sleep? Director mom was helpless. Yes. You won't have to sleep in a communal bed anymore. You'll get a big bed. The car to pick me up had arrived outside. Director mom's eyes were red, looking at me. Remember to come back and visit when you have time. My heart felt sour too.
Sure.
Director mom's red eyes instantly whitened back. Speak proper English. Don't learn from those street kids.
Sure.
Say understood. Sure, understood. Returning to the Summers family from the orphanage, besides cars, we had to take a plane. It was my first time flying. I was dizzy and vomiting the whole way. My parents who came to pick me up frowned looking at me. Instead, the fake heiress Chloe Summers stepped forward and hugged me. She smiled sweetly and appropriately, but when she leaned close to my ear, I only heard her whisper, "Hillbilly, let's make a bet. Even if you are biological, you won't get a shred of love from them."
Whoa, little brat.
I thought you were a good person. I yawned, looking past Chloe at my parents not far away. Honestly, no waves in my heart. Rather than craving love from two strangers, I'd prefer to find a soft big bed and sleep well. Chloe thought I was scared and pushed her luck. My parents spoiled her and granted her every wish. So the big room prepared for me became her new piano room. Mom told me with difficulty, Chloe only practices piano better in a big room. I nodded, expressing understanding, sure. Mom rubbed my head heartache. Such a sensible good child. The admission procedures prepared for me were also halted. Our private elementary school classes are taught in French. Sister can't even speak English well. Don't hurt her little self-esteem. Dad specially called me to the study. Chloe has always received a lead education. If you can catch up, the family is willing to spend any amount, but Dad doesn't want to give you too much pressure. I nodded, indicating I'd follow family arrangements.
Sure.
Dad's approving gaze fell on me. You must take your sister as a role model. So I went through ordinary schools all the way, and after graduating from a regular university, I stayed for residency at a local hospital. While Chloe went through elite schools, admitted to a prestigious foreign university with the full support of family resources. After returning, she parachuted directly into the management of the family business. After graduation, my parents also started considering marriage. This was the first time Chloe disobeyed my parents, insisting on marrying the second young master of the Sterling family, Ryan Sterling. The Summers and Sterling families originally had a marriage contract, but the object was the eldest young master, Leo Sterling. Leo is crippled from car racing, can't stand or reproduce. Mom, Dad, you can't push your daughter into a fire pit. Mom was uncomfortable too. Yes, honey, we can't let our daughter take care of that cripple for a lifetime. Dad wouldn't let go. Ryan is an illegitimate child after all. His reputation isn't glorious. Chloe immediately retorted, so what if he's illegitimate? The law gives him inheritance rights too. Dad, Leo is ruined. Who do you think the Sterling family will belong to in the end? Mom and Dad were obviously moved. What about the marriage contract? What's hard to explain? Isn't there still Mia? When my parents found me with Leo's information, I was still sleeping. My mom yanked my quilt off. If Leo hadn't had an accident, this good thing wouldn't fall on you. My dad also looked like it was matter of course. When you sisters both marry over, keep an eye on him. Don't dream of inheritance rights, since he's already crippled. This is for your sister. You must help Chloe. I lifted my mask, squinting at Leo's photo. This guy, kinda handsome, sure, marrying anyone is marrying. Disabled is great, no need to have kids, and he dies early. On the wedding day, Chloe live-streamed the whole process. She always liked showing off her rich, white, beautiful persona online. This live stream instantly blew up the trending searches, with viewers consistently over 100,000. Chloe waved her hand, drawing a latest iPhone every 10 minutes. Seeing such a big scene in the live stream room, my parents followed closely. Her dowry was displayed piece by piece. A villa worth tens of millions, cars worth millions, boxes of cash, my parents said. We are climbing up to the Sterling family, naturally can't skimp on the dowry, letting Chloe be looked down upon. Chloe affectionately held my parents' arms. In front of the camera, she was gentle and generous. Off camera, she lowered her voice. Mom and Dad are the best to me, but sister is. Married off, halfway through, my parents understood, willing to marry a cripple, giving it to her as a waste. I had no dowry and Leo sent no betrothal gifts, just sent a car at night to pick me up. The person picking me up was the butler. Miss Summers, the young master is indisposed and cannot come personally. Understood, understood. I get sleepy in cars, waking up groggy occasionally, surrounded by dark tree shadows. Heard Leo move to the Sterling old mansion after the accident, a century-old villa in the suburbs. Dilapidated walls, withered gardens, all indicating the owner's plight. When getting off, a tall and thin figure was waiting at the door. High nose, shimmering eyes, features ridiculously beautiful. Even sitting in a wheelchair, you could see he was tall with long legs and good proportions. Subconsciously, my dialect popped out again. Handsomer than the photo. Hit the jackpot. Leo didn't hear clearly, frowning slightly. Sorry, Miss Summers. What did you say? I blinked, my heavy eyelids struggling against the urge to just slide down the side of his wheelchair and nap on the rug. I repeated, switching back to the proper English Director Mom insisted on. You're much more aesthetic in person. It's a vibe. I like it. Leo Sterling stared at me. He was used to pity, or disgust, or the predatory look of relatives waiting for him to drop dead. He wasn't used to a girl looking at his paralyzed legs with the same casual interest one might show a piece of slightly broken furniture. The room is upstairs, Leo said, his voice like crushed velvet and ice. The elevator is broken. The butler will take you to a guest room on the first floor. We will live separate lives. Separate lives? Perfect. I yawned, already dragging my small, dowry-less suitcase toward the nearest soft-looking surface. As long as there's a blanket, I'm not picky. I found a bedroom. It was dusty, cold, and smelled like old books. I didn't care. I face-planted onto the mattress and was out before my shoes hit the floor. For the next few months, the Sterling family waited for news of my misery. Chloe kept tagging me in sisterly posts on social media. So sad Mia has to spend her youth with a man who can't even walk. I'm sending her some luxury candles to brighten that dark mansion. #blessed, #Ryan is king. The comments were brutal. Poor Mia. Basically a live-in made for a corpse. Chloe is such a saint for checking on her. Meanwhile, back at the dark mansion, I was living my best life. Leo was a difficult patient. He would throw things. He would refuse to eat. He wanted to wither away in his bitterness. One morning, he knocked his porridge off the nightstand in a fit of rage. I don't need your pity, he snarled, his eyes blazing. I looked at the porridge on the floor, then at the clock. It was 10 a.m. My nap time. I don't pity you, Leo. I'm just lazy, I said, sitting on the edge of his bed. I picked up a new bowl and shoved a spoonful of lukewarm oats into his mouth before he could protest. If you don't eat, you'll get sick. If you get sick, I have to call a doctor. If the doctor comes, I have to stand up and talk to him. If I talk to him, I lose an hour of sleep. Leo choked on the oats, stunned. You're feeding me so you can sleep?
Exactly. Now, swallow.
We're doing rehab at noon. I can't feel my legs. I know. That's why I bought this electric muscle stimulator. I'm going to strap it to you, turn it on, and then I'm going to nap in the armchair while it does the work. Win-win. One night, the Hades of the business world sent some thugs to the old mansion. They weren't there for me. They were there to finish Leo off so Ryan's inheritance would be ironclad. I was sleepwalking. Truly. I had gotten up to get a glass of water and was wandering the halls in my oversized pajamas when I saw a masked man standing over Leo's bed with a knife. Leo was staring death in the eye, unable to move. I stumbled into the room, yawning. My foot caught on the rug, and I pitched forward. Watch it, I mumbled. The assassin, startled by the hillbilly ghost in white pajamas, swung wildly. The blade caught my shoulder. The pain was sharp, but my sleep-deprived brain just processed it as an annoying itch. I landed on the assassin, my weight knocking the wind out of him, and I stayed there. Mostly because I realized the floor was actually quite cool and comfortable. Did you just take a knife for me? Leo whispered, his voice trembling as the butler rushed in with a shotgun to chase the man away. Too tired to dodge. I grumbled into the carpet. Don't wake me up for the police report. 2 years later, Chloe and Ryan were at the height of their power. Ryan had led the Sterling Empire into a series of aggressive and shady expansions. They threw a massive anniversary gala, inviting all the press. We should invite Mia, Chloe said to the cameras, her fake diamond earrings jiggling. She must be so lonely in that ruin. Let's show her what a real husband looks like. When the black car arrived at the gala, everyone expected a haggard, broken woman and a man in a blanket. Instead, the door opened, and a man stepped out. He didn't use a wheelchair. He stood 6 feet 3 inches, shoulders broad, wearing a suit that cost more than Chloe's dowry. Leo Sterling looked like a god carved from obsidian. And clinging to his arm, looking like she wanted to curl up and sleep in his suit jacket, was me. Mia. Chloe ran over, her face a mask of shock. Leo, you're standing? This is impossible. Ryan, look. Ryan's face was ashen. He had been embezzling from the company, thinking Leo was a non-entity. I'm standing, Leo said, his hand possessively tucked around my waist. And I've spent the last 18 months buying back every share Ryan sold to cover his gambling debts. As of this morning, Ryan, you're not the prince. You're unemployed. My parents rushed forward, their eyes bulging. Mia, baby, we knew you were the lucky charm. Leo, son-in-law, we always said you two were the perfect match. Leo ignored them. He looked down at me. I was leaning my head against his shoulder, eyes half closed. Leo, I whispered loud enough for the reporters to hear. Can we go now? The lights are too bright. I want my big bed. Chloe screamed. You can't do this. Ryan is the heir. Leo, you're a cripple. Mia, give me back my life. I opened one eye and looked at the sister who had dumped her trash on me. Sure, I said, using the word that always drove my mother crazy. You want the life of a sterling wife? You can have the debt, the lawsuits, and the illegitimate husband. I'm going home to lay flat. Leo swept me up into a bridal carry, looking at the cameras with a terrifyingly cold smile. My wife is tired. And when she's tired, I tend to get very unpleasant to people who bother her. As we left the screaming Summers family behind, Leo whispered in my ear, I bought that new mattress you wanted. The one that feels like a cloud. Understood. I mumbled, finally closing both eyes. Best betrothal gift ever. The anniversary gala transformed from a celebration into a crime scene in record time. As Leo carried me toward the exit, the Hades of the business world didn't just walk away. He left a trail of fire behind him. Financial auditors and police officers, who had been waiting in the wings of the ballroom, swarmed Ryan. Ryan Sterling, an officer announced, his voice booming over the sound system. You are under arrest for corporate embezzlement, money laundering, and the suspected attempted hit on Leo Sterling 2 years ago. The live stream Chloe had been so proud of was still running. The 100,000 viewers watched in real time as Ryan's face turned a sickly shade of gray. Hit? What hit? Chloe shrieked, clutching her designer bag as if it could save her. Ryan, do something.
Mom.
Dad. Our parents, ever the opportunists, were already backing away. My father was literally peeling Chloe's hand off his arm. We had no idea, he shouted to the cameras. We were deceived by this illegitimate child. Mia, tell them we're innocent. But I was already asleep on Leo's shoulder, a soft snore being captured by the nearby boom mic. Chloe lost it. She lunged at the auditors, screaming about her villa and her status. I am the Summers heiress. I am the queen of the Sterling Empire. Actually, one of the auditors said, holding up a tablet. According to these records, the Summers family used Mia's inheritance as collateral for Ryan's failed tech ventures. The villa is gone. The cars are gone. You're not an heiress, Miss Summers. You're a debtor. The last thing the live stream captured before the feed was cut was Chloe sitting on the floor in her ruined designer gown, surrounded by empty cake platters, as the police led Ryan away in handcuffs. The white, rich, and beautiful persona had shattered, leaving behind nothing but the hillbilly drama she had tried so hard to escape. 3 days later, the dark mansion was no longer dark. Leo had hired a fleet of gardeners to restore the withered roses, but he kept the thick, soundproof walls exactly as they were. I was in the bedroom, the one with the cloud mattress Leo had promised. It was $2.1 meters of pure, memory foam heaven. I was sprawled out in a starfish position, finally achieving my life's goal of absolute horizontal peace. The door creaked open, and the sound of steady footsteps, no longer the whir of a wheelchair, approached the bed. Mia, Leo's voice whispered. It was no longer cold. It sounded like warm honey. MMPH, I replied, refusing to open even one eye. The Summers family is at the gate again, he said, sitting on the edge of the bed. Your father is crying about a misunderstanding, and your mother wants to cook you spicy soup to make up for the last 20 years. I rolled over, pulling the 1,000 thread count duvet over my head. Tell them I'm dead. Or move to Mars. Whichever involves less talking. Leo chuckled, a low vibration that I could feel through the mattress. He leaned down and pulled back the edge of my quilt. I already sent them away. I told them that if they stepped foot on this property again, I'd buy the orphanage they sent you to and turn it into a shopping mall, just to erase their last link to you. I opened one eye. That sounds like a lot of paperwork, Leo. Too much work. I have assistants for that, he murmured, sliding into the bed beside me. For now, the only thing on my schedule is making sure you don't roll off the cloud.
He pulled me into his chest.
He was warm, he smelled like expensive cedarwood, and most importantly, he was a very stable pillow. Leo? Yes, my lazy little heiress? You're not going to start some new business war tomorrow, are you? No more living Hades stuff? It's very noisy. Leo kissed the top of my head and closed his eyes. The world can burn, Mia. As long as it doesn't crush our bed, I'm staying right here. Understood, I whispered, finally sinking into the deep, quiet sleep of a woman who had successfully outsourced her entire life to a man who loved her enough to let her lay flat. 5 years later, the Sterling Summers retirement, as the tabloids called it, had become the stuff of legend. While the rest of the business world was having heart attacks over market fluctuations, the living Hades and his sleeping beauty were busy perfecting the art of doing absolutely nothing. It was the 5th anniversary of Leo's return to power. The industry expected a party at the Ritz. Instead, Leo sent out a digital card that simply said, "Do not disturb." In the backyard of the restored mansion, a massive, custom-built outdoor daybed sat under the shade of ancient oaks. It was equipped with a silent misting system, a built-in snack drawer, and enough pillows to cushion a fall from orbit. Leo was sitting up, a laptop perched on his knees, closing a multi-billion-dollar deal with a few silent clicks. He looked sharper than ever, though he had traded his 3-piece suits for high-end silk loungewear. Beside him, a mound of blankets stirred. A hand reached out, fumbled around blindly, and found a piece of premium dried mango from the snack drawer. Leo, a muffled voice came from the blankets. Yes, Mia? Is it Monday? It's Thursday, darling. Good. Mondays are too loud. Leo smiled, closing his laptop. He had reached the point where his wealth moved on its own, managed by AI and a hand-picked board that knew better than to call him before noon. He looked down at his wife, who had successfully avoided a single public appearance in 3 years. The quiet was interrupted by the faint buzzing of the gate intercom. Leo checked his tablet. It was Chloe and our parents. Chloe looked like she had aged 20 years. She was wearing a cheap knockoff of her old wardrobe, clutching a business proposal that was likely just a disguised plea for a loan. Our parents stood behind her, looking pathetic and hopeful, holding a wilted bouquet of peonies. They were still trying to reconnect with the daughter they had treated as a spare part. Leo didn't even pick up the receiver. He simply tapped a button labeled Automated Deterrent. At the gate, a recorded voice, my voice, sounding very sleepy and very bored, played over the speakers. Understood.
Sure. Please go away.
I'm napping. If you stay, the sprinklers will turn on in 3, 2. The trio scrambled back as the high-pressure sprinklers soaked their shoes. They retreated to their battered economy car, finally realizing that the hillbilly had built a fortress they could never breach. Leo slid down into the blankets, pulling Mia into the crook of his arm. The Summers family is gone for good, Leo whispered. I bought the debt collection agency that holds their files. I've moved their payment deadlines to coincide with every major holiday. They'll be too busy working overtime to ever bother us again. Mia finally poked her head out, her hair a chaotic mess of curls. She blinked at the sunlight filtering through the trees. That sounds like a lot of effort, Leo. It was, he admitted, kissing her forehead. But it was the last thing on my to-do list. So, that's it? No more plot twists. No more long-lost twins or business rivals. Leo pulled the duvet over both of them, cocooning them in warmth. Just us. And the cloud mattress. Mia let out a long, satisfied sigh, her body going limp with total relaxation. Best story ever. Wake me up in 5 more years. Understood, Leo murmured, closing his eyes as the living Hades finally found his own version of heaven. A life where the only thing that mattered was the steady, quiet breathing of the woman who had taught him that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply lay flat.